Welcome to Testing Paint Strippers Part 2. Thank you so much for all the feedback on Part 1. We were not expecting that. People love a bit of paint stripper content. Get ready on this one. It's an absolute feast of visuals. You'll have seen in Part 1 that the table started off as a plain white table, but removing 2 coats of white woodwork paint should be super easy for any paint stripper. So we added 4 coats of tough thick enamel on top. Part 1 we looked at 4 paint stripper brands, up close and personal. Now we're going to look at the 6 remaining options, only 2 of which are eco, and only 1 of those is completely VOC free. In the next day or 2 I'll do a much more concise summary. I'm aware these parts are very long. First up we have Fluxaf. This one, brace yourself, this one's an absolute belter. We loved it. We got lovely feedback about how unbiased this was, and it's so unbiased that our product that we stock on our website wasn't even in the top 4. Awkward. But we are ordering in the top performer. It'll be here by the end of the week. First up, Fluxaf. Pat McDonald's has the agency for this product for the country. They have 8 stores nationwide, and this one was super impressive. Have a look at the volume applied. This is where people will fall down. This isn't just about the product. The method you have is critical to success. You have to get on the thickness that the manufacturer requires. That was flooded with product. So you do have to apply a very high volume of product, but by God it's needed. If you follow the instructions, look at the performance of it. It outperformed many of the more toxic brands. Outperformed nearly all of them. The other eco one was extremely strong. Other than that, there's very little would beat this Fluxaf. The coverage was 300 to 800 grams per metre square, so we applied 160 grams by me at 11:05 p.m. and I took it off at 12:05 p.m. and there you'll see the results were outstanding. The only downside of this product, and it's a very small downside, but it's 25% VOCs. That's a nice little bit of solvent, not compared to the toxic ones, but high for it being an eco one. But other than that, performance was outstanding. Next up we have Arc and Berling TX10. We put them on at the same time, so Michelle put on Arc at 10:20 a.m, Gillian put on Berling at 10:20 a.m, and we took them both off at 11:30 a.m. Full disclaimer, we currently sell Arc on our website. We do so because it's effective, but no more effective than Berling TX10, Blackfriar, Nitromors, and all of these products I feel sit in kind of a dangerous position in the market because they're products that perform well, but they're not the most effective and they aren't eco. So there's no clear USP there. Price isn't a good enough USP when it comes to paint strippers. You sell your absolute soul halfway through a job for a better, easier outcome. So with Arc and Berling, very, very similar, practically identical. We found you need a huge volume, which is good. You need that with a lot of them. It's not non-toxic, relatively effective. You need 200 millilitres to cover this to 0.2 metres squared per litre. So one of the higher ends of coverage. You need 1 metre squared per litre, the manufacturer specifies, and after 1 hour you apply a second coat when it's more than 5 coats. Berling TX10, very similar. So you can see there with Arc and Berling TX10, both of them need that little bit extra elbow grease, but both absolutely do the job. Strypit. This one you apply, so Michael Annie applied this at 10 to 11 and we took it off at 20 to 12. 5 minutes after you apply a first light coat, you apply a heavy coat, and 5 minutes later the paint was lifting. It was a pleasure to watch. This one and Berling are our top rated ones that do not have your eco label. So, quite a strong solvent smell from Strypit and Berling. Quite a strong smell. However, it had the cleanest peel off by miles, except for the 2 eco ones because they were strong hitters. So this and Berling and our top 2 eco ones, all top hitters in terms of cleaning every pore and crevice, and this one acted very fast as well. So downside is it needs 3 coats and it wasn't eco, it absolutely stunk. Berling up next, Gillian's putting it on 11:40, taking it off at 12. Same thing, very similar to Strypit, extremely fast acting. We use this in our paint testing room. It's one of the only ones that tells you it'll take off 2-pack epoxy. We didn't test the other ones to see would they take off 2-pack epoxy, but we're very familiar with Berling. We bought it for years. The only issue we have with Berling is the warning labels that it turn you off a little bit. It stinks like the Strypit, but both of them are highly effective products. Have a look there at the Berling coming off. It flies off super quick. It needed the lowest volume of product and the lowest time. So Berling, in terms of the ones that aren't eco, would be our top one. Very little time, very little product, which makes it very time and cost effective. Next up is the absolute belter of the day, winner by a mile, Home Strip. We were extremely intrigued by this one. A lot of UK decorators recommended us already, and the brand themselves claimed to be using science, not solvents. They absolutely lived up to their claims. Like most of them, you have to apply on a huge amount of product, but it was the only truly eco option with 0 VOCs. The amount of solvent in the can is 0.0000004%. It's not very fast to act. I put it on at 11:45. We took it off at 1 o'clock, so an hour and a quarter. And I must say it was fantastic. Performance of this, it doesn't outperform Fluxaf. It doesn't outperform Fluxaf, but where it does beat it is Fluxaf has that 25% VOCs. For people looking for an eco, total, and Fluxaf is eco too, but solvent-free, totally eco, super effective, high-performing stripper. All day long it's home strip. Have we placed an order? Yes, we have. Quick summary, Peelaway, highly rated for restoration jobs and renovation jobs, difficult surfaces like brick or delicate surfaces, so it can remove 20 coats at once. Peel Tec is an aerosol, extremely useful. I found it very strong solvent smell, but the two girls said they'd use it all day long. Very handy. We've recommended a lot of times in our messages already to people doing banisters and difficult areas. Strypit and Berling, if you don't care about toxins and VOCs, Strypit and Berling were our two most effective non-eco, but they didn't meet the eco ones. So funnily enough, I would see no reason in going with the solvent-based ones. If you have eco ones, they'll do the same thing. Our most effective by a long shot were Home Strip and Fluxaf. The only reason I gave Home Strip a 10 out of 10 and Fluxaf a 9.5 out of 10 was literally the solvent content. So Home Strip 10 out of 10, Fluxaf 9.5 out of 10, 8.5 out of 10 then for Peelaway, Peel Tec, Strypit and Berling. If you have any queries about paint strippers, anytime, pop me a message. I'd be delighted to help. 'Cause I got issues, but you got